Heartwarming tale. Young man's incredible marriage to 70-year-old slay mama reveals life-changing realities of love. Jason stood at the edge of the Maplewood Fairgrounds, a carousel of laughter and lights beckoning him amidst the sun-drenched fields of waving corn. Life here had often meant long hours, greasy hands, and the steady hum of his father's heavy expectations still ringing in his ears. At 25, he was tangled in dreams of escape, yearning for something more vibrant than the oily sheen of engines he could fix with his eyes closed. But tonight, with the scent of funnel cakes wafting through the air, hope twinkled faintly against the backdrop of struggle. It was on this very night that he met Lydia, the town's slay mama. In her 70 years, she had become a beacon of spirit. It was not just her shock of silver curls or her playful laughter echoing through the fair. It was her stories woven from the fabric of loss and triumph. As vibrant as the fireworks painting the night sky, Lydia's fierce energy drew Jason in like a moth to a flame. When he offered to help with her old, stubborn car, he didn't realize the simple act of kindness would spark a connection that transcended years. "Thank you, dear," she had beamed, her eyes bright with mischief. And just like that, beneath the stars, their friendship blossomed, rooted deep in laughter and understanding. Yet, whispers almost drowned out their joy. Jason caught judgmental glances and heard snide comments behind closed doors. What's he doing with her? He's wasting his youth. Jason fought back the tightness in his chest. The township's eyes, a harsh, penetrating gaze, watched their bond, prying into something they couldn't understand. They didn't see the joy Lydia brought him and how her stories lit a fire inside him. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. The annual town fair became a boiling pot of emotions, an event plagued by lingering doubt for Jason. The laughter faded as a few raised voices drew the crowd's attention. "What kind of future do you think you'll have?" they shouted. Jason's heart thumped painfully. It was as if the ground beneath him was shaking. Then, calming his racing thoughts, Lydia surprised him. "Jason, honey, let me tell you something," she began, her voice soft yet powerful, weaving stories of love that triumphed over boundaries and judgment. Her life lessons cloaked him in warmth, shifting a sense of dread to fierce protectiveness. As she spoke, Jason's resolve ignited. He could see a space for a different kind of love, one that didn't bow down to expectation. Would he hide it or stand tall against the tide of hatred pouring from those who couldn't understand? Unwavering, he opened his mouth to respond, bracing for the impact of his words. But just then, the crowd shifted, an energy swelling that felt like a storm brewing, and he sensed this might change everything. Would he find the courage to choose love real, raw, and relentless? Or would the whispers from Maplewood shackle him to a life dictated by fear? The choices hung in the air, crackling with tension as Jason prepared to reveal his heart. Jason took a deep breath, heart racing against the stares aimed at him. The vibrant lights of the fair blurred like the mess of feelings inside him. Lydia was still beside him, steady and unwavering, her presence a lighthouse in the storm of judgment. "Hey," he shouted, rallying a fire in his throat. "What does love have to do with age? We're here for a good time, celebrating life." His voice echoed, cutting through the murmur of discord. Against his will, Jason felt a surge of adrenaline pumping through him. He was finally taking a stand. Lydia squeezed his hand, her grip firm. "Every relationship requires courage to flourish," she replied, her gaze locking onto the crowd. The defiance in her eyes made him feel empowered. "And love knows no bounds. We're not here for their approval." The crowd quieted slightly, confusion painted on their faces. They didn't know what to do with this unexpected confrontation, this defiance from a young man who was expected to conform. Jason looked around, heart racing. He met the eyes of a few familiar faces. Some wore disbelief, while others, perhaps surprisingly, held a flicker of understanding. But they couldn't understand. Not like he did. Lydia had shown him the richness of life, the beauty of laughter, the sweetness of memories, the weight of every heartache that had led her to embrace joy again. Maybe they don't get it, Jason pressed on, his conviction growing like wildfire. But I do, and that's what matters. Cheers erupted from the back, startling him. A few supporters, mostly the younger crowd that had always respected Lydia, started clapping. They stepped closer, creating a barrier between Jason and the voices of doubt, standing in solidarity with his choice. Lydia smiled wide, her pride radiating like the fireworks that now burst to life in the night sky. It seemed to symbolize every battle they were now ready to face together. Tell them, Jason, she encouraged, her voice filled with affection. Tell them what they need to hear. The change in atmosphere ignited something even deeper in Jason. He stepped forward, feeling the warmth of camaraderie behind him. We all want love. Why judge it? It's not fleeting. It's timeless and transformative. We can choose connection over assumption. More hands joined the applause, laughter filling in where tension had festered. With each word, Jason felt lighter, lifting a weight he didn't even know he had carried. He glanced at Lydia, who glowed with an undeniable light, her joy infectious. But just as the moment swelled, a thunderclap of voice came from the crowd. What are you gonna do in 10 years when she's gone? Someone challenged, rising from the back, cutting through the cheers like a knife. It ripped at Jason's heart, and for a moment, he saw the impending reality, the day Lydia would no longer be by his side. Could a love so precious be worth the inevitable pain? He caught her gaze, and in that split second, he realized this was bigger than both of them. What if it is about every moment of laughter and shared dreams? Not just tomorrow. What if love is all we truly have? The confidence he found pulled him firmly to the ground. The question loomed, heavy as the night sky. With doubts swirling like leaves in the wind, Jason felt the need to grasp the truth even if it was fraught with uncertainty. He looked around at the faces, less hostile now, and saw a flicker of something. Curiosity, perhaps an inkling of acceptance. Suddenly, a sense of impending clarity washed over him. He wasn't done yet. He had to dig deeper. And what if we write our own story? The fairground fell into a hushed stillness, fateful anticipation hanging thick in the air. Jason could feel the beating of many hearts, all waiting with bated breath for a promise yet to unfold. What would happen next? The moment froze, charged with unresolved yearning for love, connection, and defiance. Would their choices alter customs too rigid to bend? Or would they forever face the whispers of Maplewood? Jason knew he was on the verge of a leap, and he could feel it waiting for him just beyond the edge. Jason's heart thumped like a drum, the silence wrapping around him like a cocoon. He stood at a crossroads, staring into the eyes of his friends, family, and even strangers. But this wasn't just about him or Lydia. This was about love daring to challenge the norms. What if he started, his voice steady despite the turbulence inside? What if we lived in a world where love could blossom regardless of age? Where we celebrated each heartbeat, each shared memory as a testament to something profound and rare? Around him, a few faces softened. The murmur of doubt that had once filled the air was beginning to disperse, replaced by the ripple of a shared introspection. Jason's words sliced through the skepticism, reaching corners of hearts he didn't even know existed. Lydia beamed at him, a shimmering light amidst the dimness. Her eyes sparkled like the fireworks blazing above, mirroring the passion igniting in Jason's chest. This was their moment, a vivid demonstration of defiance against conformity. He could feel her spirit pouring into every syllable he uttered, fueling his determination. Think about all the stories we've heard, he pressed. The tales passed down through generations. The essence of love to connect souls, to unite in laughter and tears, no matter how long we share together. As he spoke, he could see small nods beginning to emerge in the crowd. A man in a tattered jacket, someone who had always been a skeptic, now contemplated Jason's words with a tight-lipped frown. A couple exchanged glances, and a woman clutching her child leaned in closer to hear. Love is about the journey, not just the destination. Jason shouted, bringing his hands together while the specter of fear wavered behind him. Each word became a rallying cry, echoing with the promise of possibility. Yes, it's unpredictable. Yes, it may end in heartache. But isn't it worth it for those moments when our souls dance? The energy of the fair took a turn, fueled by the juxtaposition between Jason's fierce love and the growing understanding in the crowd. There was a woman in her 60s leaning against her husband, eyes misty, as if reminded of a long-lost passion. A younger teen stepped forward, emboldened by Jason's courage. Yeah. Love is worth it, she called out, her youthful enthusiasm cutting through the air. With that, the applause thundered back, louder this time, rising up like a phoenix from the ashes of doubt. Jason glanced at Lydia, who was gazing back at him, her eyes wide and glistening with tears of joy. He reached for her, their fingers entwining like roots of a tree deepening into the earth, anchoring them together against that storm. But just then, the darkness returned. Another voice called out, "But what happens if it doesn't last?" It was a harsh reminder, a chilling wind that whispered doubts of surrender. Jason turned to the source, swallowing down the knot in his throat. I senti that the risk we take every day, we could walk out of here and never see each other again. But we choose to love, to hope. We choose to make memories regardless of our fears. A wave of shared understanding rippled through the crowd and Jason felt a bond forming, punctuated by moments of realization lighting up expressions. People began to stand, slowly at first, but then the numbers grew. Together we write our story. Someone shouted, echoing Jason's earlier words. Cheers rose higher as more voices joined in, the sound turning into a celebrated chorus. The realization hit Jason like the warm summer breeze, palpable and electrifying. They were stepping outside the walls of Maplewood, carving their own path, intertwined in the tapestry of life as laughter erupted alongside applause. Visions of a future filled with moments, adventures, and stories danced in Jason's mind. But what would it take to keep that flame alive against the whispers once the fair ended? Would it be love or strength that pulled them through the uncertainties awaiting them? With his pulse racing, Jason locked eyes with Lydia again. We may be starting a movement today, but what will our journey truly look like? He felt both trepidation and excitement whispering in his heart. He realized this was just the beginning, the dawn of a new chapter ripe with questions, doubts, and dreams waiting to unfold. What challenges lay ahead, hidden and shrouded in mystery, and would love carry them through it all? The fair continued to hum around them, but for Jason and Lydia, the story was far from over. It had only just begun. The air was electric. A buzz of hope and newfound passion swirled around Jason and Lydia as the cheers resonated in waves. Each clap felt like a heartbeat, sinking the crowd together under an invisible banner of unity. But in the depths of Jason's mind, doubt crept in like an unwelcome whisper, nagging at the edges of his exuberance. They stepped back from the stage, the world around them shifting as they lingered in the afterglow of their moment. Lydia squeezed his hand tighter, her eyes sparkling like stars sprinkled across a velvet sky. Yet Jason could sense the flicker of unease beneath her smile. Was she hearing those echoing questions too? What would happen when all this excitement faded? Jason, that was incredible, she said, her voice soft yet charged with energy. You really touched people out there. Yeah, but did I make them believe? He replied, glancing back at the crowd still buzzing with excitement. Did they feel it? Or will they go home and forget? Even if they forget, we won tea, she said with a warmth that enveloped him like a hug. We have to hold on to tonight. They made their way through the fair, their hands still interlocked, as they navigated a swirling sea of laughter and joy. Families, friends, and lovers all rejoiced around cotton candy stands and ring toss games. Yet every person they passed caught a fleeting glimpse of the couple, a young man and his older girlfriend. It was a sight that was being celebrated more than it was scorned. Look at all this, Jason exclaimed, gesturing to the chaos of the fair around them. Feels alive. Feels right. Lydia smiled, but there was a wistfulness behind her joy. Yes, but we have to be realistic too. The world outside won't be as forgiving. The words hung in the air between them, and Jason felt the heaviness in his heart again. The sun was setting, casting an orange glow across the fairground. A stark reminder that night was about to fall, and with it, the magic of the day might start to dim. Will your family be accepting? What about mine? Jason asked, the weight of their reality looming like shadows in twilight. I hope so. I believe they want what's best for me, just like we do, she countered firmly, yet Jason could hear the strain in her voice. Do they even know about us? He probed, concern weaving through his thoughts. They know about us, she admitted. But acceptance is different from understanding. We have to be patient. It will take time. He nodded, feeling a mixture of fear and hope swell inside him. They paused under the glow of string lights, Jason looking into Lydia's face. You really think we can make this work? Together, we can tackle anything, she said, her confidence washing over him like a gentle tide. As the heaviness in the air began to settle, they took a deep breath in unison, letting the moment anchor them. A whisper of reassurance floated through the space between them, wrapping around their intertwined fingers. Just then, from the distance, a familiar voice called out. It was Jason's best friend, Tyler, weaving his way through the crowd towards them, excitement radiating from every stride. But behind him, Jason noticed his sister, Claire, whose expression was already forming into a frown. The reality of their lives loomed closer, and he could feel his heartbeat quicken again. Hey man, I saw your speech, Tyler said, grinning widely. But Claire's sharp gaze locked on Lydia, questioning and skeptical. Hey, Claire's voice was hesitant, almost cold, trailing off as she took in the scene. Jason gulped. The tension was palpable. What would they say? How would they react? Lydia squeezed his hand, but even in that moment of support, Jason couldn't ignore the knot tightening in his stomach. Jason, I need to talk to you, Claire finally said, her tone somber. Felt like a crossroads again, this time with much higher stakes. That earlier buzz of hope faltered as the shadows closed in. Would love truly conquer all? Or was it all an illusion? As Jason prepared to face the reality of his sister's confrontation, he wondered, was the warmth they had built enough to weather the storm ahead? Jason stood frozen, the world around him fading as his focus honed in on Claire's serious expression. The joyous sounds of the fair, the laughter, the music, the distant screams from the Ferris wheel melted away into nothingness. It was just him, Lydia, and the looming confrontation. Can we maybe talk later? He asked, feeling a mix of hope and desperation leak into his words. We just know, Jason. Claire's voice was firm, a protective edge lacing through it. This can't wait. Lydia's grip on his hand tightened. Jason could feel the pulse of tension between them. Is this really the time? She asked gently, her voice attempting to diffuse the situation. But Claire wasn't budging. You have to hear me out. It's important. Jason hated the look on his sister's face. It was a blend of concern and disapproval, like a dark cloud hovering over them. His heart raced as he glanced back at Lydia, whose eyes glimmered with encouragement. Yet there was worry brewing in them too. Would this be the moment everything changed? Would his sister's words shatter the little peace they had built that evening? Okay, he finally whispered, rubbing the back of his neck. Let us talk. They moved away from the fairgoers, the colorful lights fading as they entered a quieter area near a row of food trucks. The smell of popcorn and fried dough hung in the air, but Jason was barely aware of it. All he felt was the weight of Claire's stare. Jason, this isn't like you, Claire started, her voice low and earnest. You've always been careful. But Lydia, she's so much older. What are you thinking? The words stung, and Jason opened his mouth to defend himself, but he paused. Part of him didn't want to acknowledge the age gap, didn't want to give it any power over what they had. This isn't just about age. I know, but it's a factor, she countered, her brow furrowing. You can't honestly think this is going to work out. Behind her doubts, Jason glimpsed the truth. His sister wanted to protect him. It was frustrating and sweet all at once. He took a breath, steadying himself before opting for honesty. You don't know what it's like between us. Lydia gets me, really gets me. She sees me for who I am, not just some kid that needs protection. Claire's eyes softened for a moment. But do you think Mom and Dad will understand? What will they say? Jason felt a flame of anger ignite. Why does it matter? They don't understand our choices. They never have, he replied, a fierceness rising in his voice. This is my life. I have to make my own choices. Lydia stepped forward, her presence radiating support. Claire, please can't you see how happy he is? SNT that what matters? Claire's gaze flickered between them, searching for something that seemed just out of reach. I just want what's best for you, Jason. And for you, Lydia, she added, her voice softer now. At in that moment, an overwhelming surge of emotion for each person in the circle crashed over him. He felt torn, caught in a riptide of love and familial loyalty. It was a revelation mixed with the question that lingered on the edge of his mind. Would love really hold them together when the world seemed determined to pull them apart? With an urging sense of resolve, Jason took a step forward. Listen, how about we take some time together? You and me, Claire. Just us. I'll explain everything, he proposed. Claire hesitated, uncertainty flashing across her face. I want to understand, I do. But it's going to take time. Then let us take that time, Jason insisted, needing her to see. Just as the moment hung in the air, filled with tentative hope, a loud crash echoed from the fair behind them. They turned to see a carnival ride malfunction, while a collective gasp erupted from the crowd. Heart racing for a different reason now, Jason faced his sister again. Whatever happens, I want you in my corner, he said, determination lacing his words. Claire nodded slowly, still processing, but it felt as though a door had cracked open. As he stole a glance at Lydia, her gaze met his, and for the first time that night, it felt like they were charging forward. Together, not just hoping or wishing, but ready to confront whatever storms lay ahead. Little did they know, this was just the beginning. Would this shared intent be enough to bridge the gap? With the unpredictability of the night ahead, an insistent thrill coursed through him, promising new challenges and deeper connections. Jason's heart still raced from the adrenaline of the argument, but the chaos around them shifted from anxiety to curiosity as the first few sparks of evening fireworks danced in the sky. Their bright colors illuminated Claire's features, giving a fleeting glimpse of her softened expression amidst the tension. Can we at least watch the fireworks together? Claire asked, a hint of surrender in her voice. Her eyes darted towards the exhilarating display, perhaps looking for distraction from the heavier conversation. For old time's sake? He could feel Lydia's warmth at his side, her comforting presence wrapping around him like a soft blanket, urging him to let go of the tension. If it'll help you think. I'm in, Lydia said, offering a small, reassuring smile. Jason nodded, feeling the bond with both of them strengthen despite the uncertainties of the night. It surprised him how a simple request could shift the weight of their conversation, even just for a moment. They found a spot on the grass, creating a small triangle of support between them. Claire settled in beside him, and for a few seconds, the noise of the fair faded away. The first crack of a firework erupted, painting the sky with gold and silver, each explosion bright and fleeting. It was beautiful, but as the celebratory lights bloomed overhead, Jason felt an undercurrent of sadness mingling with the awe. This is what I want, he murmured, mostly to himself but loud enough for Claire to hear. I want to live my life. Claire turned toward him, her expression softening, a mix of fear and love in her eyes. I just don't want you to make a mistake, that's all, she replied. I can't bear the thought of you getting hurt. I won't be hurt if I follow my heart, Jason said, his tone firm yet laced with vulnerability. And Lydia, she makes me want to be brave. SNT that worth something? As bursts of color exploded in the night sky, Jason couldn't help but feel the weight shifting just enough to allow a spark of hope to shine through. Through the lights overhead, he caught a glimpse of Lydia's smile, sparkling under the glow. But as the finale of fireworks crescendoed into a burst of flames and sounds, every vibrant light flickered out, plunging them into a strange quietness that felt heavy. That very silence opened a door that Jason had not prepared to walk through. What if something happens later? Claire pressed, breaking the calm. What if you both change? What if this is just a phase? Jason felt the arrows of worry shoot through the air, piercing his heart with doubts. It's not just a phase, he insisted, though uncertainty pooled inside him. It's real. Lydia is my reality. The lingering shadows of fireworks drifted across the sky like fading dreams, and it dawned on him that he was asking Claire to accept a truth beyond her comfort zone. A truth that even he wasn't entirely sure about. Claire didn't answer right away. She was chewing on her thoughts, weighing the complexities of what was being said against the understanding that her brother was forging his own path whether she agreed with it or not. Finally, lifting her hand to point toward the remaining flickers above, she said, "Just remember, even fireworks fade. Don't let that reality slip away before you fully explore what you want." Her words hung in the air, carrying the weight of her worries, but also the flicker of hope that maybe she could give him space to figure it out. Jason glanced at Lydia, who was looking intently at him, her warmth enveloping him like a safe harbor for every storm. Did he have the strength to navigate this path alongside Claire and Lydia, while holding them both close? His mind raced with the myriad of possibilities, and, for the first time, he wondered if love could really be the compass guiding him. But as the last embers of fireworks faded into smoke, Jason's resolve began to waver. What would he choose if faced with decisions he never dreamed of making? Underneath the fading night sky, one thing was clear. He was standing at the edge of something monumental. The warmth of family intertwined with the pull of first love. Could he bring them both to a place of understanding? Or would he have to choose between them when life demanded a decision? Little did he know, the night had more surprises in store, and soon he'd be confronting new limitations that would challenge his love in ways he couldn't possibly foresee. The warm silence settled over the park as the last of the fireworks faded, leaving behind a sense of unfinished conversations and lingering tensions. Jason felt a mix of relief and uncertainty. Clara's words echoed in his mind, cementing a thread of doubt that he couldn't shake off. He hadn't expected his sister's concern to cut so deeply. "Hey," Lydia said softly, breaking the quiet. She reached for Jason's hand, their fingers intertwining naturally. "Are you okay? You seem distant." He looked at her, her eyes shining under the dim light like a beacon. The warmth of her grasp brought him a sense of grounding. "I'm fine," he lied, but he knew he needed to be honest at least with her. "I just didn't think this would get so complicated, you know? Complicated is what life is," she replied, her smile gentle yet knowing. "But it's okay to feel a little lost sometimes. We don't have to figure it all out tonight." The comfort of her presence did ease some of his anxiety, but Jason couldn't ignore Claire, who was now staring up with a contemplative expression. Following her gaze, he watched the stars begin to twinkle, competing with the remnants of the fireworks still lingering in the sky. "I feel like everything is happening at once," Claire finally said, pulling Jason from his thoughts. He turned to her and saw the mix of emotions swirling in her eyes: fear, love, and a hint of understanding. "There is so much changing, and I just don't want to lose you." "You won't lose me," Jason replied, the conviction in his voice surprising even him. "I want to be here for you, but I also need to explore this connection I have with Lydia." Clara's face fell slightly, the shadows of doubt returning as another worry crept in. What if you can't balance it all? What if being with her drives a wedge between us? The question lingered like a heavy fog, and Jason swallowed hard. "I can't promise I'll have all the answers, Claire." He took a deep breath, making sure his words were steady. "But I do know that I can't stop living my life because of fear." "Fear is a normal feeling," Lydia chimed in quietly, squeezing his hand tighter as if to strengthen his resolve. "We're all a little scared, but that doesn't mean we should run away from what could be beautiful." For a moment, they all sat together, with the sky as their backdrop. The night felt thick with possibilities and uncertainties. What if Claire's fears weren't just fears? What if they said something that couldn't be unsaid? What if, Jason whispered, the thought slipping from his lips before he could curb it. What if Claire's right? What if everything changes and I lose you both? The silence that followed was palpable. It was a question that didn't have a clear answer. But deep down, Jason felt the stir of resolve, entwined with the fear of what lay ahead. Finally, Claire's voice broke through the tension. I want you to be happy, whatever that looks like for you. I just don't want to be the reason you hold back. Jason nodded, feeling the weight of her love in the air. He truly believed that love could find its way through even the darkest uncertainties. But still, a storm brewed inside him, swirling with the thoughts he couldn't quite piece together as the night deepened. Something shifted. An electric tension simmered beneath the surface, yearning for resolution. He needed to find a way to hold on to both Lydia and Claire while discovering who he really was in this tangled web of emotions. However, the path forward felt murky, and Jason could sense something unfolding that he had no control over. He looked at Lydia, then back at Claire, torn between what was and what could be at end that midnight moment of uncertainty. A figure emerged from the shadows nearby, a stranger with a knowing smile and piercing eyes that seemed to gaze right into Jason's heart. The stranger's presence sent a chill down Jason's spine, as he felt an invisible thread pulling him toward an unknown reality. Sometimes the choices we fight against come with their own answers, the figure said softly, just loud enough for them to hear. Jason could hardly breathe. What did that even mean? Before he could process, Claire turned sharply to the stranger, her expression shifting to one of apprehension. Who are you? She demanded. The stranger only smiled, a knowing grin that felt both welcoming and foreboding. Someone who understands, was all they said before disappearing back into the crowd, leaving behind a swirling sense of apprehension and anticipation. Scattered sparks of doubt re-emerged within Jason, and he couldn't shake the feeling that the night was far from over. What if this encounter held the key to navigating the turmoil of his heart? As his thoughts raced, tension hung thick in the air, and one question surged to the surface. Was the stranger a sign of something profoundly life-changing, or merely another phantom of fear waiting to pounce? Jason felt the weight of the night pressing against him. The stranger's words echoed in his mind, swirling with the unresolved feelings for Claire and Lydia, pulling him into a whirlpool of doubt and curiosity. What do you think they meant? He asked, his voice breaking the silence like a pebble disturbing a still lake. Claire shook her head, frustration creeping into her features. I don't know, but it feels ominous. I don't like it. Could also mean that we shouldn't be afraid of our choices. Maybe they're not as scary as they seem, Lydia said, holding Jason's gaze, her eyes filled with a softness that contradicted the tension looming around them. But Jason could see the concern shadowing Claire's face, the tightening of her lips, and the way her fingers twisted in her lap. He felt a pang of guilt for needing both of them in his life when they were clearly at odds with each other. Lydia, Jason began, hesitant, if things get complicated, I want to be honest with you. I care about you, but Claire, she's my sister. It's like a bond that I can't break. Lydia nodded, her grip momentarily faltering. I get that, Jason. But I also don't want you to feel like you have to choose between us. That's not fair. Claire sighed, her frustration giving way to sadness. Exactly. I don't want you to feel that tension. I just want you to know that if you pick Lydia, I'll understand. But it hurt. A lot. Jason's heart raced. The truth of the situation crashed upon him. He was the common thread in their delicate web. He felt like a tightrope walker, balancing the weight of those he loved. He opened his mouth to respond but hesitated. What could he say that wouldn't sound like a lie? Let us just breathe for a moment, Lydia suggested, her voice gentle. They all sat quietly, the cool night air wrapping around them, mingled with the distant chatter and laughter of the parkgoers who were still reveling in the aftermath of the celebrations. As the moments stretched, Jason found comfort in the rhythm of their breaths, despite the chaos unfolding inside him. It was a temporary reprieve, but it was necessary. Suddenly, a dog barked nearby, breaking the tranquility. Laughter erupted as a group of children ran past them, chasing after the furry creature, its tail wagging wildly. Remember when we were that carefree? Lydia asked, a smile breaking through her unease. When everything felt simple. Claire managed to smile, her expression softening. Yeah, it was always about lemonade stands and dreams of being artists. Everything felt possible. Jason smiled at their nostalgia, but he knew the heaviness of adulthood couldn't just be washed away. Maybe we can find a bit of that simplicity again. Just not tonight, right? Tonight is already messy enough, Lydia said, her laughter infectious. That laughter dissolved a bit of the tension. But as the smiles faded, Jason brought the conversation back to earth. The truth is I don't want to hurt either of you. I want to figure this out, but I don't know how. Claire nodded, her gaze unwavering. I just need you to promise me that we'll talk, that we won't let this drive a wedge between us. Promise. Lydia squeezed Jason's hand tighter, conveying her agreement. Yet the unease wasn't completely gone. The air shifted again, and as they looked up, the stars twinkled brighter, almost like a beacon of hope against the dark night. Suddenly, Jason felt something was amiss. Did you just see that? He asked, his voice rising in pitch. What? Claire replied, her brow furrowed. Over there. He pointed to the area where the stranger had vanished. Suddenly, the same stranger emerged again, dusted in shadows yet unmistakably determined. Their smile was different this time, more knowing, more profound. Every choice carries its own weight, the stranger said, their voice beckoning. And sometimes the heaviest burdens reveal the greatest truths. Are you ready for what's coming? Jason felt his pulse quickening, a raw mix of fear and excitement coursing through him. Ready? He echoed, uncertainty washing over him. What did that mean for the choices ahead and the delicate balance he had to keep? And there, beneath the shimmering stars, Jason faced the crossroads of his heart, one path leading to clarity and the other to chaos. Would he step forward into the unknown or retreat into what was safe? The night was still young, but the clock was ticking, and every passing moment pulled him closer to a future filled with secrets and revelations. Are you? The stranger pressed, locking eyes with Jason, raising the stakes of the moment. The question hung in the air, begging for an answer. What do you mean? Jason asked, his voice barely above a whisper. The weight of the stranger's words hung between them, suffocating yet electrifying. The stranger tilted their head, a playful smile teasing the corners of their lips. Ready for the truth, Jason? The one that lies just beneath the surface of your heart? He swallowed hard, feeling the intensity of the moment. There was an urgency in the stranger's eyes, as if they could peel away layers of uncertainty, revealing the raw, beating heart of his dilemma. In that instant, Jason realized he had a choice to either dive into the unknown or take a step back. Jason, Claire said softly, her voice strained with concern. She placed her hand gently on his shoulder, grounding him. The warmth of her touch sparked a flicker of clarity amid the confusion. I don't know, he admitted, feeling vulnerable. Lydia's grip on his hand tightened. I'm scared of what that truth might mean. For us, the stranger nodded knowingly. Fear is often what binds us, but stepping toward it can unearth the things that truly matter. Their gaze shifted to the distant stars. Sometimes, honesty can lead to healing, while silence breeds resentment. I don't want to hurt anyone, Jason murmured, guilt surging anew as he glanced between Claire and Lydia. Each held a piece of his heart, and the thought of losing even one of them seemed impossible. Pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional. You need to decide what you're willing to bear, the weight of hidden truths or the potential for profound connection. The stranger's voice was steady, guiding, pulling Jason closer to the edge of a decision. Lydia stepped forward, her voice breaking the tension. Jason, you're not alone in this. We're family, sisters, and friends. But if you don't tell us how you feel, we can't help you navigate through it. Jason's heart raced. The flicker of possibility ignited within him. He turned to Claire, whose eyes sparkled with concern. I don't want to choose one of you over the other. I don't want to lose either of you. It's not about choosing sides, Claire responded, her voice softening. It's about being honest with ourselves. What are we really chasing here? Connection, understanding, love, Lydia added, her eyes pleading. You can have all of that if you face the truth. You need to embrace the choice in front of you, no matter how daunting. Jason felt overwhelmed yet exhilarated. The world around him started to fade out. The laughter, the music, everything melted into insignificance as he focused on the two women who stood by him. Maybe, he said slowly, maybe we can redefine what this means. The threads connecting us don't have to be as limiting as I thought. The stranger smiled, nodding in approval. There you go. Embrace that thought. Now think about what you truly want. The silence that followed was charged with anticipation. Jason closed his eyes, feeling the pulse of the night, the cool breeze that seemed to whisper promises. In that moment, he realized he was not just a bystander in his life but the author of his story. He had the power to craft his own narrative. I want to figure this out, he finally said, his voice steady. I want to embrace our connections and the chaos that comes with them. As the words hung in the air, the stranger's expression shifted, becoming more solemn. Very well. To unravel the threads, you must first face your inner truth. Are you truly prepared for what lies ahead? Jason met the stranger's gaze, the significance of the moment pressing in on him. He felt the weight of a decision looming larger than he had ever anticipated, one that would change everything. And just then, a flicker of doubt crept back in. What if he couldn't handle what was to come? What if the truth ripped them apart instead of bringing them closer? The air thickened around them, the night holding its breath, waiting for him to make that leap. Jason, Claire whispered, breaking the silence, her eyes urging him to take that step. Are you ready? Lydia added quietly, her expression filled with hope and trepidation. In that moment, Jason's heart was caught between hope and fear, love and loss. Would he take the plunge into the unknown, or would he retreat into the shadows of what he had always known? As the stars blinked above them, Jason stood at the precipice, ready to discover the truth that awaited him. Tell me what to do, he finally exhaled, his voice steady and full of determination. Suddenly, the ground beneath him trembled slightly, as if the universe itself was ready to reveal its secrets, leaving the three of them at the edge of a fiery revelation. What was about to unravel felt both thrilling and terrifying, and there was no turning back now. The night sky over Maplewood glistened like a fairy tale come to life, but for Jason, the magic felt fragile. He could sense the threads binding his life to Lydia and Claire were drawn taut, a delicate weave caught in the air of anticipation. With the stranger's presence lingering like a specter, Jason felt a pulse of urgency. This was not just about confronting the truth but embracing the reality of his life going forward. Ready or not, here we come, he whispered under his breath, instilling his own words with hope. With a shake of his head, he turned to face Claire and Lydia, their expressions eager but apprehensive, much like his own heart. I want to live fully, Jason finally declared, standing between two worlds, the love he'd found with Lydia and the unshakable bond he shared with Claire. I want to be honest with myself and with both of you. Love transcends age, lacks boundaries, and holds the power to unite or divide. And I want to embrace that. Claire's expression softened, a mix of pride and lingering concern in her eyes. What you're saying puts your heart on the line, Jason. But I believe in the love you have for Lydia, even if it scares me. I hear you, I do, Jason replied, determination flooding his veins. But love is transformative, not just for me, for all of us. I don't want to hide this part of me anymore. Lydia stepped forward, placing a gentle hand on his shoulder. We're in this together. Each step we take, we learn and grow. But you have to know, my heart is all in for you, Jason. No one else defines our love. The sincerity in her voice ignited warmth within him. The fear was still there, but it felt lighter now. You're both vital to me, he continued. It's not about leaving one behind. It's shaping our journey into something beautiful together. A triangle of support if we let it be. The stranger regarded them, a knowing gleam in their eyes, as if they had been waiting for this revelation. Voicing truth is only the start, young hearts. Are you prepared to cultivate the understanding and acceptance that come after? Jason took a deep breath, sensing the gravity of their commitment. Yes, I want to embrace our love, heal misunderstandings, and rewrite what it means to be family. I don't want fear to shackle us. This time we flourish regardless of what others think. Claire nodded slowly, considering his words. I'll have to put aside my fears too. One Ti? I'll have to trust that this isn't the end for us as siblings. Trust is the essence of relationships, Lydia encouraged, her eyes sparkling with belief. And every love story needs space to grow. Together we can face any judgment thrown our way. With that, Jason felt like they had taken a step into the unknown, but one filled with light and promise. The warmth spreading from his heart enveloped him as he turned to face the crowd, shouting, "We are ready to write our own story, our love story, a story that recognizes every heartbeat counts, no matter the age or circumstance." The crowd erupted in cheers, snapping their attention back to the fairgrounds alive with colors and laughter. Some applauded while others continued to regard them with skepticism. But Jason held onto the support of Lydia and Claire, feeling invincible. He had claimed his love and bravely shouted his truth into the night. "Let us show them what love can be," Jason shouted, and with that, arms raised high, faces beaming, they stood together, the evolving tapestry of their bond unveiled and embraced. They had overcome the weight of judgment and chosen love, hand in hand, heart to heart as the night continued. With fireworks painting the canvas of the sky, laughter and joy swirled around them. Jason realized gently that vulnerability was not a weakness. It brought them closer. They could redefine love and family together, one challenge at a time. With a final burst of applause and laughter ringing around them, he leaned closer to Lydia. "Whatever comes next, remember this moment. This is our beginning, where we shatter expectations and embrace every uncertainty." With Lydia's vibrant spirit beside him, and Claire's steadfast love as his anchor, Jason took their hands, ready to face the world together. Their journey was just the start, brimming with every precious second, laughter, and love. And beneath the stars that twinkled like dreams waiting to unfold, they took a moment to breathe in their shared existence, a reality nourished by their courage to love freely, accepting every possibility ahead. Now is your moment. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories that will inspire you to embrace love every day. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and show your support. It really makes a difference. Comment below with your reactions and feelings about this heartfelt ending. We want to hear from you. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation, because love conquers all and deserves to be celebrated. You need to show your support today, without waiting another second.